What's up, Crusader fans? I'm Connor Durkin. I'm here with defensive coordinator of the Brother Rice Crusaders, Coach Anthony Milofsky. First of all, Coach, congratulations on a great season, and it's an honor having you on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So, Coach, you coached these guys when they were members of the SWO.
Absolutely.
How does it feel that you were able to grow with this team?
It's been a real pleasure to be able to have these guys for 3 years. We've definitely grown close. Myself and especially the defensive side of the ball. But all of those seniors, we really meshed well. And when Coach Backey asked me to come up to the varsity, I said absolutely right away. I would rather be with any other crew. And obviously the juniors and the sophomores on our team as well have just meshed immensely. So it's been great.
So a lot of coaches, they love coaching their alma mater. How does it feel that you were able to do that?
It's awesome. It's truly a dream come true. When I knew right away after I graduated as a senior that I wanted to be a part of Brother Rice right away. So I think I was 19, 20 years old when Coach Quaid, who was the freshman head coach at the time, brought me onto his staff. And then that was still when Coach Nye was still the head coach. And then obviously when Coach Backey came in 7 years ago, he asked us to stay on. And I've been here ever since, and I love every minute of it.
So this year you guys have obviously had a lot of fun memories. That fumble 6 against Loyola and that big defensive stand against Marist. What would you say is your favorite?
My favorite would probably have to be the Marist game, just because I know how hard that these guys worked in the off-season. We started working out right after Thanksgiving break, and coming off that disappointing season last year, and just seeing how hard our juniors and seniors worked for that day especially, and to kind of get our payback from last year was great.
So your defense is allowing just 5.2 points a game.
Yeah, they're playing well.
Yeah, that's I don't think that's ever been done before here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats.
Yeah.
But,
So what do you think contributed most to the success?
Honestly, I can't take a whole bunch of credit for it. I give all the credit to those players. I mean, they're just relentless from the defensive backfield, the linebacking core, to the defensive line. We're just very, very strong and tenacious, and these guys get angry when people score on them, and they take it personally, and they have a lot of pride in their trade, and they love just to get after it. They love to compete, and they're doing a great job.
So, you describe the defensive leadership of this group.
The defensive leadership, I mean, there's so many leaders on our defense. We're so senior heavy defensively this year, and a lot of guys coming back from last year who have a lot of playing experience, from Zach Werrico to Joe Fitz to Sievers to, Danny Fitz. There's just so many players and there's so many leaders on that team. And the great thing about their leadership is, they always have each other's back. If the offense messes up, the defense messes up, special teams messes up, we're always there to have each other's back, and they have a very, very good no-quit attitude, which you just don't see in a lot of groups. And, they're teaching these juniors and these sophomores how to win and how to not ever give up, and I think that's the best quality of their leadership.
So you have a lot of new defensive coaches. Coach O'Brien from DBs, Coach Quaid came up helping the linebackers.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy working with them?
Absolutely. Coach O'Brien has been a huge asset to us this year. Coach Wilcox, who coaches the D-line, who's new to us this year, has been absolutely great. And obviously, I've worked with Coach Quaid for a few years, and it's always a pleasure working with him. Like I always say, it's a team effort, especially on the coaching staff. We wouldn't have the success that we have without Coach Quaid, Coach Wilcox, Coach O'Brien, Coach Backey, and even the coaches from offense. We all work together and we try to put this thing together every week and try to get after it.
So the preseason analysis of your team from a lot of the media writers and everything was that you guys are going to be weak at the linebacker position through injury and all that. That's clearly not been the case. You guys have stopped the run real well. Your linebackers have done great defending in the past. How do you describe guys like Miles Jones and Richard Sievers, who came up from a safety position, and Jack McMahon, who came back from that devastating injury?
Yeah, we knew right away that we would have to reload at the linebacker position. Obviously, losing Jack McMahon last year was a big hurt for us. He lost a whole year of experience. But you know, Jack never gave up. He kept working at it, he kept rehabbing, and he's come back and he's had a pretty good year. He has 2 or 3 interceptions. He's leading the team in tackles right now. And then, you know, Miles Jones was kind of a pleasant surprise for us. Miles came up as a sophomore with us in camp, and you know, week 1 and 2, we were trying to find ways to get him onto the field, and then once we found a way to get him onto the field, he's obviously performed well over expectation. Richard Severs, you know, is arguably the most important player on our defense. And Rich, going from a safety spot to a linebacker spot, I talked to him in camp. You know, he was fully expecting to be playing safety, but you know, we talked to him and I said, hey, Rich, we really need you at the spot. It's a very important position, and you know, you're going to make a lot of plays there. And he absolutely was on board and was all ready just to do whatever he needed to do for the team. And then Joe Fitz, you know, we kind of have him rotating between linebacker and defensive end, that outside linebacker spot. And Joe is just an animal. You know how he is. He's awesome. He's one of the captains. And you know, people outside of Brother Rice may not have known these names, but you know, we definitely internally knew these names were going to be big players for us this year, so it wasn't a surprise to us.
So let's get into this week. Oak Park River Forest, you know, 8-2 this year, coming off a big win against New Trier last week. They've been throwing and running the ball pretty well lately. Have you guys practiced any differently this week?
I wouldn't say any differently. We're preparing for their offense. They have a very good offense. They're a very well coached team, and probably one of the better offenses we've seen this year. And you know, we're just going to attack every day like we do, and you know, do the best we can with our game plan defensively, and try to execute the best we can on Saturday night.
So OPRF, they're relying on a sophomore quarterback right now, Jaden McGill. Are you going to try to use that inexperience to your advantage?
Absolutely. Jaden is a very, very good football player, and being a sophomore, he's got a lot of good football ahead of him. And you know, obviously, he's what makes their offense go. So we got to do the best job that we can to try to make him uncomfortable and put him in situations that he's not performing very well at right now. So you know, our game plan going in is you know, obviously, as usual, stop the run, control the pass, and you know, we just have to find a way to shut down number 6, and we'll be all right.
So your defense, they didn't allow a single point in October. What are you going to try to do as a coach to make sure that continues to Thanksgiving weekend?
Well, you know, just kind of use the same formula we've used all year long. You know, I love shutouts, but you know, I've never been big on stats and things like that. As long as we win the football game, that's all that matters. You know, we could win by 1 or we could win by 27. As long as we hold the opposing offense to enough points to win the game, then I'm okay with that. But going into November, obviously, it's a whole different ball game. You know, it's something that we're just going to have to keep continuing to get better every week. And you know, I think our best football is ahead of us. And we're going to have to do a really good job playing good defense, especially down the road.
So something that we asked Coach Bagley last week is how did his Gatorade bath feel after the win against Montini? Yours wasn't really a bath, they kind of just threw the tub at it.
Yeah, they kind of just, I think it was McMahon and Joe Fitz, they tried to hit me with a little bit of the end there, and I kind of dodged it a little bit. So it wasn't too bad, it was a little bit cold, but I've had worse. When those guys were sophomores, after the 18-0 victory, I got a little more wet, so it wasn't as bad as that.
All right, Coach, thanks. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Connor.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, Crusader fans, for our special presentation of VRTV Game Day.
Hello, Crusader fans. I'm here with headmaster of the SWO, Coach Tim Lyons. Coach, we'll start right off the bat here. How did the SW name come about, and does your team have any extra motivation when they play under that name?
I think I learned it all my years doing the freshman. I was the head freshman coach for 10 years after previously coaching the varsity at 2 schools here and at De La Salle. I always saw the sophomores as that team in the middle. People were excited to see the freshmen. The varsity is what it's all about. Then there was this game at 5 o'clock. Coach Becky gave me the opportunity in 2012 to take over the sophomores. I want to generate some type of theme, some type of pride in sophomore football, which is the last opportunity you get to play as a class together. I'm a big wrestling fan, and I sided with the WCW during the Monday Night Wars, and there was a group called the NWO which tried to take over WCW. So I adopted that theme and made sophomore football take it into their own element. It has something special for our year, and that was where the SWO came from, the Soft World Order.
7-2 season, tremendous accomplishment. After watching the majority of the team's games in the broadcast booth, how much fun did you have coaching these guys, and how does their skill level compare to others you've coached?
Anytime you start off the year with a great rivalry victory over a great team in Marist, I think that was a springboard for us moving forward. This was a group that experienced a 5-4 season and a winless blue season a year ago, so our goals were high in the competitive sophomore blue division moving forward. So to watch us get our first blue win, to suffer some tough adversity and one of the toughest losses I've taken in 22 years in the Loyola game where we lost on the last second field goal, to watch us rebound and pitch 4 shutouts to end our season was pretty remarkable. And I saw this team really mature at the end. I really think we accomplished a lot of goals as a coaching staff. I think the players knew that when our season was over 7-2, we have a lot to look forward to moving forward. The development of them, not only as football players, but their character and continuing to act manfully in Christ Jesus and learning how to be lifelong friends and brother ice, not just on the football field, but in our halls and out in the life, was just something special to see. This team definitely is going to hold a special place in my heart. And, you know, each team in 22 years leaves a mark. These guys made a special mark because they easily could have folded after that Loyola game and go back to that. That was, again, it's tough for us as coaches as well. I'll be honest, there's days I still think about it. But we knew that the only thing you can do is get up the next morning. My college coach always told me the sun will come up. And I always try to remember that as a head coach. The sun's always going to come up. There's always going to be better days ahead. And kudos to the SWO of 2018 because they certainly had better days ahead, and moving forward, there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, you guys definitely fought through some adversity during that Loyola game. Even sparked some emotion up in the booth there.
Sure.
Yeah. So going on a specific level here, Ben Summers, really impressive season. How do you think he can improve from next year, and how impressed were you with his performance this year?
When I think of Ben Summers, the term warrior comes to mind. He's an absolute warrior, and if you want a quarterback to lead your team mentally, physically, by his work habits, I think Ben is the total package in that. He was such a great leader for our team. He fought through some tough injuries during the year, one in particular the latter half of the year, but his calmness, his toughness, he is definitely a leader no matter where you put him on the field. And we were fortunate enough to have him as quarterback because he made some dynamic football plays with his feet, with his arm, and again, keeping a young offensive line together that was, by the end of the year, was really, really clicking for us. And it all started, there's no doubt. I mean, of course, you know, as a former quarterback, I know that it always starts under center. In our case, behind center because of how we play it in the pistol. But without question, Ben was the guy that made this team go.
Yeah, as a former quarterback yourself, I'm sure you're the person that could make a good evaluation of how he did the season. You alluded to his student athlete life. As a Room 214 alumni myself,
correct.
How do you demonstrate to your team that academics over athletics are the #1 priority?
Because I'm a teacher first. Coach Gleason taught us that a long time ago when I was a player at Rice. Coach Gleason was my position coach. And he always stressed the importance of academics over athletics, and then as his colleague, you're always a teacher first. He told me that the first day I walked in here in 1999 when Coach Nye was gracious enough to hire me here. And I always remember that and always try to put that forward, not only as a teacher and a coach here, but as a dad of 5 boys. It's teach first, coach second, and it's always academics over athletics because, boy, I just work with some tremendous colleagues who are so good at what they do. It's an absolute pleasure to walk in here every day and to see guys and women who taught me, and to watch them teach you guys still, along with a lot of new blood we have in here. There's a lot of great things going academically here at Brother Rice.
Yeah, going back to the football side of things, ever since I've been here at Rice, the freshman team has improved under your coaching guidance. How much credit do you give to your staff, and how do they help the guys improve?
I give all of it to my staff, and I've been blessed. Every staff I've worked on here at Brother Rice, and prior to that, you know, when I had 4 amazing years at D, I've just worked with tremendous people, and I make so many friends for life because of that. And it's easier to coach with friends than it is to coach with professional colleagues, and we all have each other's back. And I see the staff that I currently work on right now, boy, they go over and beyond. I think they prepare more like a small college than they do a sophomore football staff. Our preparation is very diligent. Our work ethic is diligent because we love what we're doing, we love where we're at, and we love being around one another and each other's families. So what an absolute blessing it is to come out to practice and to look at those guys every day and how hard they work for our guys.
Yeah, some former Crusaders on that staff, definitely. You guys are going to prepare hard for every single matchup regardless of what's going on.
It's like yesterday, I'm coaching Coach Gibson under center and Coach Sullivan's doing back pedals at practice. Coach Malopsy is our D coordinator, Coach Olson. It's so neat to see guys that I got to spend time with as their coach at one time or another, now contributing to the success of Brother Rice football and the long history of our success.
As a 1992 alumni yourself, do you feel any extra pressure coaching at Brother Rice, and how does it feel to be able to come back here and coach under your alma mater?
I think there's always pressure because of the standard that's been set by Coach Mitchell, Coach Gleason, Coach Nye, and now Coach Badke. They set a standard of hard-nosed play, hard-nosed work ethic, going that extra mile for your teammates, and there's no question that it's more special when you get to do it where you were fortunate enough to play with a bunch of guys. I mean, Coach Badke and I were teammates here at Brother Rice, and we had so many values instilled by us by our coaches. Coach Clutcharch was one of my coaches, Coach Gleason was one of my coaches, and I get to come and try to live up to those expectations every day for our players. It's a special place to be at, and I always say don't go to work every day. I get to do a dream job every day, and I truly mean that. So the maroon and orange is obviously very special to me, and even more special now as a Brother Rice parent. So,
looking forward to the future here. You had a meeting actually with the freshmen on Tuesday, I believe, about next season. How are they looking, and how do you think the talent level is on that squad?
I think what was most impressive was they were in silence, and they didn't go into the meeting with any lack of focus. They were eyes on the coaches. They looked at the schedule. We talked about off-season expectations. But more importantly, we talked about keeping your grades up and joining other sports. That was as big a message as any. Is the more things they get involved in here at Rice, and not just sports, but the clubs as well, I think that makes them more well-rounded. More well-rounded they become, and the more friends they get to meet, it'll make them better football players. going back to this year's team to compare them to next year's team, socially, our kids were good friends, on and off the field. The more things they get involved with at Rice, I think that will help our team camaraderie. And if you have good team camaraderie, you have guys who are yes men and will go out and do what's needed to do for Brother Rice football, I think that's going to be an exciting mix. They experienced some great games this year, and they experienced a couple tough games this year. For them to finish 6-3, I think was a good starting point, a good launch pad for them moving forward. And that's, again, what we look for, is that improvement now at our level, so that when we get them to Coach Badke, that they're ready to play football.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully no more flakes on that freshman team when they get up to you.
Correct, and I think an advantage of that is I have 5 freshman classes, as you well know, and I'm very fortunate to work with these guys in the classroom, so I get to know them a little better coming in as their sophomore football coach. So I always feel it's a big step that Coach Elgett, myself, Coach Gibson, we have with our kids, is with the 3 of us and Coach Clutchart, the 4 of us teach those guys, and we have a good idea about who they are and what they can and can't do mentally going into our season. So big plus.
Yeah, going back to that Loyola game, just seeing how the team responded to adversity, how do you train them to do that, and like what message to the team did you give?
It was the toughest moment I've ever had in coaching. But if that's the toughest moment, I would consider myself pretty lucky. We put up 35 points against a phenomenal football team who ended up going undefeated and winning our conference. And it also is a learning curve for us. We're like, guys, this is how close we were to being at the top of the conference. And moving forward, the only thing you can do in this conference is get back up. Because in this conference, there's somebody waiting to knock you right back down. And it doesn't matter what name it says on the helmet or the jersey. We play phenomenal competition in the CCL Blue. And we had a huge road game at Providence next week, in which we achieved one of our season goals, is winning a CCL Blue game, and we did that in very good fashion. So that was an easy time for them to be an immature teenager and say, you know what, I'm just going to stay down. But they decided the opposite. They decided to get up, fight back, and it was a great night for us as a football team.
Yeah, with that new conference realignment, even that, I mean, you're going to face even more tougher competition in the Catholic League than you already have.
Right. The challenges just get tougher, without question. We're excited to merge with an outstanding conference in East Suburban, and our Chicago Catholic League together should make for a super conference known across the country for sure.
Yeah. Coach, thanks for joining us. That's all the time we have today. Be sure to watch the SWO next season. It's going to be a thrilling one. Now back to Crusader Game Day. Thanks again, Coach.
Thanks.
What's up, Crusader fans? I'm Connor Durkin alongside senior quarterback John Bain. And what a season you've had, John. You know, Tony Lawless MVP, private school player of the week. It's just been a great season for you. Describe what has made you so successful.
I'm going to revolve myself around the team. So each and every day, every practice, the team always got me better. So yeah, you know, you work hard, you can get at it every day.
So 9-0 has never been done by a Crusader team before, and you were a big part in why it happened. How'd that feel to hoist the Catholic League trophy?
To make history like that and hold up the Catholic League trophy and see the plaque in the halls, it means a lot that we're the first team to go 9-0. But it was a team effort, and you know, we all had the team chemistry, so that's what matters most.
So, like, that's the last Catholic League Blue championship ever.
Yeah.
How's that feel? That's going to be Brother Rice for
that's something you can always bring up to anyone else, and you know, you can hold it on my shoulders proudly. Yeah.
That's good. So let's get into this week a little bit. OPRF, they're pretty solid defense, pretty big up front. How do you think you're going to be able to defeat them this week?
Yeah, they are pretty big. There's some big boys over there, and you know, we're not going to overlook them at all. We got some new schemes coming in, and hopefully we can break out this week and show the fans what the offense is all about.
So you have arguably one of the best receiving corps in the state with Summers, O'Keefe, Jalil slash Arquilla, everyone. Like it's how does it feel to be able to throw to those guys?
It's a huge stress relief off of me knowing that I just put the ball up somewhere in the vicinity and they'll be able to, help me out and make a catch, and yeah, it means a lot.
So we talked about that National Private School Player of the Week. Were you shocked when you saw that, or?
Yeah, I didn't even know anything about that. I didn't get the notification first. I just got a text from the coaches, and they said, "Hey, look at you! Like, congrats!" I'm like, "Oh, what for?" And they're like, "Catholic School Player of the Week," and I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" It's national recognition. I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah.
So it's your second home game in a row. Did you like that Saturday feeling or no?
Yeah, I did enjoy the Saturday feeling. Seeing the crazies out there. It's still a school atmosphere, even though it was on the weekend. So yeah. We're happy to be home again.
That's good. Yeah. So thank you, Crusader fans. Thank you, John. Have a good day today. Good luck tonight. Stay tuned for our special presentation of Brother Rice Game Day. Go Crusaders.
Most people think athletes are the only ones that have to get mentally prepared before games, but in reality, broadcasters are the same way.
Gentlemen, great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have yourselves here tonight. That's what you've earned yourselves here tonight. You broadcast 6 regular season games a year, 1 playoff game. And I expect nothing but perfection every single time. We've done good so far. But good isn't good enough. It's got to be great! Tonight we had an opportunity, as I said, to do something special. And I expect nothing but greatness from both of you. Both of you earned your positions on this team for a reason. Now go out there and show them why you're on this team and why you're part of BRTV. Bring it in right now. Let's go, boys. Give me a 3. 1, 2, 3.
Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peppers.
It's game time.
Bean drops back in the pocket, looking down the field, looking for a receiver. He sees Summers. Bean throws the pass. It finds Summers. Summers with the catch at the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Crusaders, and they're in favor! Man, just like that. Just like that. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, Durkin, it's playoff season. It's win or go home. Every game's your last.
Yeah, we need a big one tonight, man.
Yeah.
All right, boys, just about that time.
Let's go, boys.
Okay, let's go. Let's go out there, boys. Let's go. Hey, Rudy, come on. Handshake time. Let's go. Let's go. Go.
is bad team is we are smoking. I'm talking 52-0. I don't need the mud. I don't need the snow in the front. I'm trying to wait on the Crusaders that come and play. The defense is coming for you. The dogs are going to be talking right